Hi everyone, welcome in our channel. Today we're going to talk about how to choose the packaging for your brand. Before we go ahead, remember to subscribe to our channel, leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. Before we get deeper into the topic, let me introduce myself for people that don't know me. My name is Martina and I'm the lead consultant on NDW Commerce. So what we do, we help companies, brands that sell online to reach international markets, sell anywhere from anywhere in the world. But also we help them optimize their packaging, their costs, their operations, their procedures, find a fulfillment center, a 3PL, but also doing some market researches, training, and much more, all related to the logistics. So moving forward with our topic today, we said we're going to talk about how to choose the right packaging for your brand. So overall, my point here today is that there are different types of packaging that you can choose, and I know that many of you are eager to, let's say, find the best packaging that can give your customer the best experience ever. That's not everything. You're spending so much time on designing a packaging for your product that maybe later is going to create some problems. That's quite big deal, especially when departments work differently and they are not in sync. So the logistics department or operation department should always work in sync with any other department. That's because anything regarding the logistics impacts the finances, impacts the design. For example, the packaging, if it's too big, then it's going to impact the cost that you have for shipping out internationally because of the volumetric weight. So in that case, you should be careful because anything that you design can cause problems in the logistics. Anything that you add in terms of processes in finance, accounting, marketing is affected by the logistics itself. So let's go back to packaging. So when you actually design a packaging or you try to find the best packaging for your product, then you need to keep in mind the fragility of the package, the dimensions, and potentially also how hard it is to unpack. So sometimes you want to find something fancy, something that gives like the whoa, let's say reaction. But of course there are different ways of designing packages. I would say you should test it first. You should see how it works. Maybe send some samples out to some, let's say, individuals and let them try, let them see how it works. And you get feedback and you improve before launching on the market. And generally what happens is that the more complexity is from the logistic point of view, is that the more complex packaging is, the longer it's going to take to produce. So think about the logistics of choosing a packaging. You should think about, okay, I want this box that opens, I don't know, and then you find another box inside, and then you find another box inside, and you have different compartments inside the main box where you can find different things. Well, think about what's behind logistics, not the logistics of shipping out, but logistics behind making such a packaging. So the more compartments there are, the more it's going to cost you. The more the molds, let's say the stamps, are going to be expensive but also hard to make. But once you've done and you solve the first blocker of making the molds, then you still have the production, producing and finding materials that actually match the type of design. It's even harder. And then the fact that every time it's going to take a longer period of time to reorder is quite risky. You want something that can be reordered quite fast, in a maximum couple of weeks. And that's because in case you're going to need it, you need to wait for 3, 4, 5 weeks and so on, even months. You don't want that. So before you even design the packaging, make sure that you have all the requirements. Like you have some targets. For example, it needs to be received. If I order today, I want to get it within 2 weeks. That's quite an optimistic target if your manufacturer is something that is a little bit complex. So think about the target. You want to have them every 2 weeks, a reorder time every 2 weeks. Then you want to make sure that the quality of the product is this one. and it's compartmental, for example, then you take those and you go back to the manufacturer and try to find some manufacturer that can make that happen in 2 weeks. If you don't find it, then that's a problem. You can maybe bear 3 weeks, but 3 weeks is already quite a long time, you know, comparing to normal boxes that can be produced in a couple of weeks. So think about the targets, think about what you need in terms of logistics. So how long is maximum you can wait to get the packages, to get the order that you place in the manufacturer, and then you find the manufacturer that can actually meet your requirements in terms of graphics, materials, but also lead time. So lead times are really, really important because that's gonna impact your orders, and in the case you're gonna need some packaging, you can't get it. So especially during Chinese New Year, for example, you know, factories are closed for so long that if you're manufacturing in China, you have a problem. You need to be ready for that period. Anyways, we're gonna have another video for that. So let's go back to the topic. So just make sure that you don't only think about the design and the quality of the materials, you think about the lead times, and you think about how strong the box is as well. I'm talking about the retail box, I'm not talking about the shipping box, the outer box, because even if you have, let's say, even if you have a very fragile retail box, you can still have a quite strong outer box or shipping box. But in any case, having a very, let's say, fragile retail box is actually a little bit of a problem, because when someone buys the product, if it's a gift, I'm not going to give it to anyone if the corners are damaged or the package is smashed. It needs to be quite clean and unharmed. So that's where you can't really afford to have very fragile retail packaging, neither shipping boxes. So they must be quite strong. You can save something on the other box, which means on the shipping box, in terms of strength, but at the same time it's better to have some protections always, because you never know what's going to happen. So sometimes it may be useful, you know, to test let's say the boxes and the retail boxes before, let's say, you launch it on the market. If you can't afford drop tests, just try it yourself, get some sample, try to ship them from the other side of the world, let them come back, because the problem will be, it's not only the fact that it goes one way, you know, it gets shipped from Hong Kong to Los Angeles, it needs to come back. Like in some cases, it comes back, it's undelivered, for example, then it comes back. So when you go and try to open the box, then the retail box where the product is actually a little bit damaged. Can you resell that and keep it as a stock in the warehouse? You most likely can't. You can't resell something that you can resell something that is actually a little bit damaged, even if just a little bit, you know, it doesn't look like new, and that's the problem. So it's good to understand that many packages go back and forth, or many packages move from one courier to another. If you use an express option, it's most likely just one courier, but you need to understand the different modes. Maybe it gets on a plane from Hong Kong to Los Angeles and then takes, let's say, a truck from Los Angeles to San Francisco. So it's two different modes, and definitely people are carrying things around, and you never know, if it gets smashed or cracked somehow. So just think about the journey of your product, the fact that it moves from the factory to your fulfillment center, the fact that it moves from your fulfillment center to a courier, and then from the courier gets on a plane, and on the plane gets on a truck and gets delivered to the front door of your customer. So it's quite a journey, I would say, and you need to think about it. It can last quite a long time, and move from one type of transportation to another can cause definitely some harms, especially when you load or unload the trucks, for example, or you move and you sort parcels from a plane to actually dispatching it to the right couriers, for example. So think about that. Think about the lead times, how long it's going to take to produce the package that you actually want, and how difficult it is to find materials, because if one day you're not going to find the right materials, and you're going to find the materials for which you design the molds and you design the packaging, then it's going to be a problem. So make sure that you have plenty. It's not a type of material that can get, let's say, exhausted, but at the same time the manufacturer is able to provide you with that type of packaging within 2 weeks, or within the time frame that you actually aim to. and overall just make sure it's a good fit. Don't make things too complex, don't make things too big, just because you want to give the experience, because that's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to occupy more space on a truck, so you can ship less products with the same space, but at the same time it's going to cost you more for the same reason when you ship it out. So just make sure that you actually optimize for space as well, because that's the most important thing. It's going to cost you more money. The bigger the box, the more you pay for the box. So a normal box can be 30 cents, a little bit bigger can be 40 cents, so the size of the packaging change up as well. Like we talk about the shipping or the retail, it doesn't matter. The bigger it is, the more it costs, because more materials, more work, and so on. And at the same time, or more color, for example, but also more space. If it takes more space, you pay more freight or shipping fees, which means from your manufacturer to the warehouse, and from the warehouse to your final customer, you occupy more space, so you can optimize, you can reduce your costs, but you're going to pay more, and so on. There are multiple reasons for that. And just make sure you understand the layers and the different cushions and, let's say, fillings that you can have. There's actually a video that I linked here on different type of packages. Just make sure that you understand how it works and what are the options that you can have, and to protect the product from inside the outer box. So let's say now we take into consideration the outer box, which means the shipping box. You can have multiple layers or also shapes, but make sure that you understand also that the weirdest is the shape, or the most complex is the shape, the longer it's gonna take to fold this box. And the longer it takes to fold this box, the more you pay, because people in the warehouse can just spend 1 minute or 2 minutes folding one box for you because it's too complex. So you must think about how fast is the fulfillment as well, like how fast I can fold this box, because it's when you're gonna need it, you're gonna save money, because either the warehouse is gonna charge you a little bit more to spend so much time just folding your boxes, but at the same time it's gonna cost you more also maybe to store it. If they are too big, they occupy more space, and you pay more for storage. There are a lot of costs associated to let's say packages. So the fact that you have a 2 weeks, for example, lead time, actually cycle time, then in that case you know that every 2 weeks you get something, right? And this means that you can have less inventory, save in storage, compared to, for example, having a lot of inventory and reordering once a month. So think about the structure of your cost, which can be many things. It can be the storage that you pay to have more stocks because of a longer lead time to order packaging, like the space that they occupy overall, the shipping rates, the volumetric weight, how fragile they are, the fact that they need to travel from one side to the other, how fast they can fold the boxes. If you have more, let's say, charges from your fulfillment center in order to fold those specific boxes because it requires more time, how long it takes to fold, because they can actually slow down the fulfillment. Like if you have 10,000 orders per day, then if it takes 2-3 minutes to fold a box, you can't have the same output of 10,000 orders. You're going to have maybe 5,000, half of it, So think about the speed and how fast orders can be fulfilled, basically, and reduce at the bare minimum, basically, the let's say the time that people spend to fold or to pack your product, because especially when they unpack, it's quite annoying, to be honest. Just wait what's inside and pack. So just don't make it too complex. Make it wow, but don't make it too complex, and make sure that you understand all the costs associated behind it, the entire logistic of, let's say, products, of packaging designs, but also shipping products, shipping packages and retail packages, and the actual, let's say, cost that you're gonna have, direct or indirect, from warehouse, manufacturers, shipping companies, couriers, and so on. Thanks for watching. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like, a comment, and you subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.